I'm Kamerie Gibson. Welcome to the Kamerie Gibson Show, the podcast. I believe that one of the most precious gifts you can share with someone is your story. Pain has purpose and stories can change lives. Your journey to become more inspired and transformed by the lives of those around us starts now. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Kamerie Gibson Show, where we talk about transforming our pain into power. And today I have a especially beautiful guest with me here today. Her name is Tasha. Tasha, would you mind introducing yourself to the audience for me, please?
Absolutely. First, thank you for having me.
Of course.
I'm Tasha Champion, known as the Phenomenal Coach. My company is Champion Empowerment, always teaching women to love the champion they are. I am a two-time best-selling author, speaker, workshop facilitator, and I am an intuitive empowerment healer and life coach. And of course, as always, I have to tell people a triple negative breast cancer survivor.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. You have a lot of gifts and talents that I've been blessed enough to see. I know we were introduced to each other through L'Oreal, who was my best friend. She actually told me about one of your phenomenal woman of brunches.
Yeah.
I believe it was in May in 2021. She was like, "You got to come. They're great. I go to the retreats as well. They're great women. I think you'll really like them." And she did disclose with me that you and other people within your family and within that group there were breast cancer survivors. And when you mentioned now you said a triple time
Triple
breast
negative.
cancer, triple negative,
Mhm.
I'm sorry, triple negative breast cancer survivor.
Yes.
Um, what does that mean exactly for people who aren't familiar with?
So triple negative means that you are negative of like your estrogen, progesterone, and HER2 receptors, and it is the most aggressive breast cancer. So, for instance, how I like to tell people is my cousin went from stage 1 to stage 4 in a matter of 6 weeks. And a lot of times, more often than not, by the time people find out that they have triple negative breast cancer, it's usually already in the aggressive stage. So my sister and I both, we were diagnosed 2 weeks apart. Both had the same type of breast cancer. So we both went on like chemo and surgery journeys and everything together.
Wow, I did not know the full extent of that story. So I know my only, direct experience with breast cancer was with my best friend losing her mother, of course, at 38 years old. I'm not sure then, but she may have been in the same stage. I know it was the end of it. Well,
Right.
it was close to the end where she had pretty much, I guess, waited too long. Do you,
Hmm.
um, um,
Yeah. With any type of cancer, you always hear um, early detection is the best, and truly it is. For my sister and I both, because we carry the BRCA gene mutation, meaning that we're at high risk because of the gene mutation, we actually went in to be what we call previvors, meaning we're going to go into this surgery, this elected surgery, to have a double mastectomy to reduce our risk of ever having breast and or ovarian cancer. And ultimately for both of us, they found the cancer already growing. So we really had these surgeries right on time because both of us had mammograms that didn't show anything was there.
really?
Hmm.
So how was it how did you find out that you did have it? Were you like aggressive about seeing different people? Were you like were you feeling a certain way or
No, it was just really, I went into the hospital to do this elected double mastectomy. Like, okay, I have this gene mutation, so I'm going to go. It's what Angelina Jolie did. Like, I'm going to reduce this risk by removing my breast and just having reconstruction, right? So I go in to do that, but instead they actually find the cancer already growing. So I was already in the process of having an elected double mastectomy. Turns out I needed it because the cancer, when they opened me up, the cancer was already there.
wow. And when you found that out psychologically, emotionally, what did that do for you?
I don't it Honestly, I was more concerned about my mom than anything because
Mhm.
2 weeks prior, she just heard the doctor tell her that her daughter has cancer, and then here it is, now she's sitting with me hearing, "Your daughter has cancer." So 2 weeks apart, she had to hear this for both of her kids.
Wow.
So I think I was more really worried about my mom than anybody, than even myself. And I was already on a spiritual healing journey within myself, from like a divorce and being 100% single mom to jumping into a unhealthy relationship. Like I was already on a spiritual healing journey. So this was just like, okay, it's part of the journey. Like that's how I looked at it. Yes, I was 100% just so grateful that I had this surgery right on time, because I just had a mammogram. And if I would have gotten my next mammogram, it would have been 6 months later. I probably wouldn't even be here. So everything serves a purpose. So really, it was about, okay, God, this is the journey that I'm on. This is the path. What do you want me to do with it? And that's when he opened the opportunity for me to speak. So I just really focused inward in my own healing. So, like when the doctor said, "You have cancer," I was like, "Yeah, I'm a survivor." When I had to go to the chemo nurse where they sit and tell you all the things that you're going to experience, literally the nurse would say, like, you're going to have nausea. And I was like, not on my body. You might have this. And I would go, not on my body. Like whatever she said, I rejected. Like, you don't get to tell me what this body is going to experience. So I just kept rejecting all the things that they said I would go through. I was like, yeah, no, not me.
I love that. I really love that. That is powerful. When you were talking, I was thinking about, you talked about discovering you had this cancer already growing inside of you when you already had to prepare yourself to go into that surgery to get
Mhm.
it removed, not knowing that it was already there. You said you were already likely like stable spiritually and emotionally to go through this
Yeah.
new discovery because of strength you had gotten from leaving a relationship, a divorce.
Hmm.
Okay, and I was like, interesting. I wonder if God gives us our suffering, our pain in doses for a reason, so that we don't break down. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just from an objective view, I was looking at it like interesting. Like it was of course, it wasn't like that in the moment,
Right. I got what you're saying.
but like in over time, He wasn't going to let you. You had to be phenomenal, basically.
Yeah.
It speaks to, young women like me and other women who really needed to share their stories with other women
Yeah.
and with the world. So that's very powerful. And I'm glad that you shared that story. Um, so I never really got the chance to talk with you, about fully where you're from. What was it like growing up where you're from? You're always on the go. You're always, boss lady running the show. So you're always on your feet. So
Yeah.
now that I'm able to sit with you, I wanted to know like what was it like for you growing up? What city did you grow up like in, and what was it like there?
Yeah, born and raised in Los Angeles, California, went to Crenshaw High, graduated from there in 97. I spent a few years in Georgia as a child. Like we lived there for 4 years, came back. So I mean, I really had, like, I didn't have a grand childhood. I didn't have a bad childhood. Like I felt like I, just had a regular, normal childhood. I went to Michigan every summer to be with my grandparents. I'm one of four children. I'm the third. Um, I had both my parents in the house. But my mom was like both parents, if that makes sense. So I really had just a pretty normal childhood. Did I experience, woes and trials and tribulations and all of that? Of course, I think we all do. But I think the biggest thing for me was growing up without understanding the importance of learning who I was, loving myself. Um, like people say that, but then there's not really application to it. And so before I even had the opportunity to learn who Tasha was, I was already pregnant And then I had to learn who I was as a mom. I had to learn myself as a mother before I even really had the opportunity to learn who I was just myself. Like I was in the middle of a recording contract and I was singing, and now I'm pregnant and I'm like, well, I'm having my baby. So by the singing, like it was a lot. And so I went through these different stages, and it wasn't until after I was already a mom, after I was married, after I was divorced, where it was like, you got to pause and really learn, who are you? Because I only knew myself as mom, wife, sister, but who was Tasha? I had no clue.
Ultimately, um, I know you know about, manifestation and like the thoughts you put in your head. And okay, so you were talking right now, I'm a visual person. I saw you being like a magnet. And I definitely see you as that woman, with all these hats and these roles, this very powerful woman. And I see you being very like self-aware and in tune and very present, for the majority of the interactions I've had with you. And I'm thinking, okay, for you to say you had to arrive to the point where you got to learn yourself, it's just interesting to hear that. So going back to the magnet part, what about Tasha was attracting those other labels before discovering who she was at the time?
Yeah, I think a lot of it goes back to becoming a mother before really learning who I was. Like I became a mom at 19. We don't even know who we are at 19. Very few women have the opportunity to really know themselves at that age. Your 20s is typically where you're going to really learn more about yourself. And then in your 30s, you realize how much you didn't even know in your 20s. And
Wow.
here it is, like before I was 30, I had all four of my children,
Wow.
and so I love the fact that you brought up, you've always known me as Tasha Champion. So you've always seen this side of me, the facilitator, the workshop, the leader, the person that's, bringing things to life. But there was a journey before that. And I hope that people really do see that when we admire people as we should, when we are inspired by people as we should be, there was a point in their life before they became that. And sometimes I really like for people to see that pocket, because then it lets you know, like, well, where I am right now is not really where I have to stay. Like it was a journey. It was a journey of admitting my own faults. It was a journey of accepting things that I should not have accepted. It was a journey of um letting people tell me who I am because I didn't know who I was. It was a journey of, you've gone through these two relationships and you are the only person that's in common with both these relationships, and you having the same problems. So there's only one person that can change this. So it's like, it's this journey, but you have to be ready and open to say, what part did I play so that I can truly come out of it? But when we just stay in victim mode, when we stay in, but he did this, she did this person said this, like, move all of that aside and just say, this is me. That's when you can really identify and learn who you are on the most soulful level, and you can grow from that.
I love that. Thank you for circling it back to like, like everybody has a journey. That's
Mhm.
what's really like the meat of, I would say the inspiration behind like what caused you to become this person who you are now, which is like always wanting to be better and better and better.
Yeah.
Um okay, so going further into that, what would you say was that kick into transformation, into accountability?
Girl. Wait, how long is this podcast? Um, to put it short, I had, come out of my marriage. I was married to the father of my four kids. And he, when I said I wanted a divorce, he set us down to let us know he would no longer be a husband or a dad. Like, it was like, well, you're a great mom, so they'll be fine. But he literally told the kids, I will no longer be your dad, after being there from the day they was born. And the day they were born. And then I jumped out of that relationship right into another relationship. I jumped into a relationship with a woman, had never dated a woman before, but we found solace in each other because she wanted a family, I had a family. I wanted to be loved, she wanted somebody to love. So we found common ground in that, but ultimately it was really an unhealthy situation. And so what did I see? I started seeing myself feel the same way I felt when I was married. I started accepting behaviors that I shouldn't have been accepting. I started silencing myself, couldn't speak up for myself. So here it is. I'm still the same person, but I'm repeating the same habits from my ex-husband to now this relationship. And in the process, I can't even like defend and take care of my kids properly because I don't even know how to defend and take care of me. So I got this urge from God on December 31st, 2014. And I literally felt God wake me up out of my sleep and tell me that my life was not going to change unless I made the biggest changes. Like my years ahead would be the same as my years past if I didn't make the biggest changes. And that was I had to love and give love to myself the same way that I was not only giving it to others, but begging others to love me. I was begging others to love the part of me that I didn't know how to love. And so God was like, enough is enough. Here's the thing though, just because God gives you the alert doesn't mean you're always ready to accept it. I thank God because trust me, He had alerted me before. God alerted me before I even got to the end of the aisle to say I do. He was like, "Don't do this," and I was like, "God, I got this." Um, so you have to. It's like when God gives you that, are you ready? Because once you're ready, it's go time.
It really is. And I
Hmm.
feel like it won't leave you. Like it'll wake you up. It'll wake you up out of your sleep. Because you know that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing and you're not becoming who you're supposed to become. This is really good. Ooh, because I felt like I have been out here begging for people to love parts of me. And I'm like, is this what the 20s is about? And I just turned 26. I'm on the 23rd. And I'm just like, I don't know. I just want to get to my 30s so I don't feel like that. But I know I just have to like pace myself and just, take my time with myself and with the wisdom. Although it's harsh, like at least I'm learning it.
It is, and the most beautiful part is you just said, am I chasing people to love parts of me? Like the knowing, the awakening just to that, it opens you to really discover what part of me am I asking for people to love? Where does that come from? What is the emptiness that I feel that I'm begging for others to feel? You understand what I mean? And it's like now is your opportunity to really unpack what's happening. And what you're going to find is the very parts of you that you're begging people to love is actually the most beautiful part of you that you don't even see.
Wow. Wow, I love that. I love that. That's so good. Thank you for just sharing your gift just naturally. It just comes out. Okay, so you're very spiritually in tune. How have your experiences that you mentioned that you've gone through,
Mhm.
how have they shaped you into the woman that you are today?
Girl, oh my gosh. Number one, like I said a little bit ago, when you don't know who you are, you leave yourself open to be labeled. So think about an empty box that you're getting ready to mail. You put a label on that box, right? And you send it to wherever because you're telling this box, this is who you are, this is where you're going. So when you don't know who you are just an empty box for anybody to put a label on. And when you are like that, you begin to accept what other people label you as. And so I remember a lot of things being said to me, and I accepted those things as truth. And that was very difficult when I really realized, like, that's not who you are. That's not what you're about. People are saying you're too emotional, but your emotions are the beautiful part of you. People are saying you talk too much, but your talking is the beautiful part of you. Like I had to really learn these things. And as I began to unpack, as I began to excavate, as I begin to just release all these other things, including the self judgment and self talk that I had with myself, there emerged Tasha Champion. And I started seeing, like, hey, you know what? Your spirit is beautiful. You know what? You do have power in the things that you want to say. You do love your kids more than life, but you also understand that you still come first. There is power in knowing that you are the priority and you get to be unapologetic about that, even as a mom. So, all these things that I learned along the way, it really shaped who I am today. And what I learned today just continues to shape who I am, who I'm going to be tomorrow.
I love that, Tasha. So beautiful.
Thank
It's like a
you.
poem. Okay. It is. It's just natural. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we got we got through it pretty fast.
Okay.
Um, Final question for you. What would you tell the younger Tasha?
Oh Lord, it's so funny. I just last week I had someone interview me on my show for my birthday, and she asked me the same question. And what I would say to younger Tasha is the same thing I say to young girls. Number one, you are beautiful as you are. Okay. Your flaws are part of your beauty. Your mistakes are part of your beauty. The lessons you learn are part of your beauty. Everything around you is really a part of the beauty based on how you accept it into your life. But the number one thing I will encourage younger Tasha and any young girl and woman, because a lot of times we don't learn things until we become women, is learn and love who you are as you are before you become a mom, before you become, this incredible entrepreneur. Like, really learn and love exactly who you are, because once you do, that's something that no one can take from you. And be unapologetic about your goals, your dreams. Understand that obstacles are detours in the right direction. One of my favorite quotes by Gabby Bernstein. Understand that a no right now is just a future yes. Sometimes we need a no because there's other steps that we got to take before we get to that yes. So stay the course of what your heart truly desires, and know that you are worthy of it. You are worthy of your dreams coming true. You are worthy of your dreams becoming real. You are worthy of living the life that you seek for yourself. But until you know that, no one else can tell you. You have to know it within yourself.